I did feel like that might be the end of our relationship.
I could have very easily said, you think you don't have enough time? What about me?
Regardless of where you are in your relationship, you can continue to build more trust and security over time from wherever your starting point is.
Fights can be scary, and unfortunately, when you're in a relationship, they're inevitable. Today, we're going to be sharing with you 3 things you can say to stop a fight from blowing up. We are Matt and Sunaina, and welcome to the Happy Wanderers podcast.
The first tip is to ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? A lot of times when you're fighting, you have all these big emotions like anger, even like sadness and anxiety. And what happens is it can kind of put blinders on you so that you think you know what's happening. When you ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? It raises the possibility of, what if there's an alternative explanation? And it shifts your thinking, right, from being furious to curious about your partner.
That is really cheesy.
It is. Okay, it is cheesy, but it works.
Furious
right? It works.
to curious.
From furious to curious. I think of that when I coined that term, right? Patent pending. But it really makes a difference. I mean, we use that. We use this idea, right? And maybe you can tell us a little bit more about it.
I remember once we were getting our daughter ready to go to school, and I went to the restroom real quick, and I came back, and everybody was gone. Matt had left with his mom to take our daughter to school. And I instantly got angry. I called him up right away. I was just thinking, what, do you think I'm not important? Are you leaving because you think my daughter doesn't need to say bye to me before she goes to school? I was looking forward to seeing her, and I was very angry. And in that moment, I can pause and I can say, what if I'm wrong? What if my assumption that they think I'm not important is wrong? And indeed, when I called Matt, it was with that spirit of like, what's going on here? Because I'm making these assumptions in my head that you don't think that my connection with my daughter is important enough to come into the bathroom and say, hey, we're leaving, let's say bye to mama. And because I questioned what if I'm wrong, I was able to call Matt, and he was just explaining to me, it's actually, I was just trying to save you time. I know how hectic your morning has been, so I was trying to make it easier on you. So yeah, that inquiry of what if I'm wrong helps us pause and open up to this possibility that something else is going on instead of what we're assuming because we're getting angry and feeling.
I remember that phone call, by the way, and I remember freaking out, like, oh my God, she's gonna yell at me. And then you said, hey, I just want to know what's going on. Yes. Like clearly you had already been asking yourself that question. You'd already been getting curious about me. And so I was a huge relief.
Yeah. All right, so tip number 2, you can just ask your partner, how are you feeling? And the reason this is effective is because, oftentimes when we're fighting, we feel like we're attacking each other. And when we can ask, how are you feeling? Our partners get this sense that we care about them. We do this all the time, not only when we're fighting, but also when, the day has been difficult or somebody's experiencing some difficult situations. We check in and say, how are you feeling? So the partner knows, hey, this person is curious about my experience. They care about what I'm going through right now and not just about what they want and what they think.
Kind of as an alternative to asking this, you can also say or ask, how is your heart? And it sounds a little bit precious, maybe, but it can be useful because I know when we talk about it and you ask me, how are you doing? Or how are you feeling? How are you doing? I tend to answer literally. And so I'll say, oh, I'm doing this, I'm eating this, I'm sleepy, I'm hungry. I'm not talking about my feelings. And so when Sunaina asks, how is your heart? Then I know she's asking me to go deeper. And so if we are kind of on the verge of conflict, if we are about to fight, that's also a way of, just kind of starting to connect with each other, right?
Yeah, I'm curious if anybody's listening to this to try this next time that the fight's about to blow up is how are you feeling and see what the response is. And if it comes from this place of genuine curiosity and care, I guarantee it'll help diffuse. Like even when we were practicing or talking about this podcast, he was saying the words, how are you feeling? It just instantly like calmed me down and it's like, wow, he cares. So curious about you guys trying that. We have one more tip for you, but we're gonna take a quick break before we share that.
Hey, Sunaina.
What?
You wanna fight?
No.
Well, maybe you should get our free guide on how to instantly diffuse any fight.
Okay, Matt.
You wanna know how to do it?
Okay.
Yeah, go to growmorejoy.com/newsletter and sign up and you'll instantly get that free guide. What do you think?
Sounds great.
Welcome back. And now we're going to talk about the third tip on how to stop a fight. And that third tip is to say, I really want to figure this out with you. And this is something that's really important. It reframes the purpose of a fight from winning to working together. So often when we're fighting, we think we have to win with our logic or our emotion. We have to overwhelm and get the other person to see our side of it. And it's really hard to reach a resolution, a connection, and understanding when you're doing that. We've talked about anger in the past, and that's something that I think when you get locked into fight mode, it gets really easy to think this is the only way to solve this fight, to fix this fight, to win this fight. But it doesn't have to be that way.
Right. So an example that we wanted to share was just recently with Matt, working on this new podcast and some new business things that we have going on in the background. He was feeling a little overwhelmed and pulled thin, especially the fact that we've got our toddler and we've got other things going on in life. So he comes expressing to me, I just don't feel like I have enough time. And I could have very easily said, you think you don't have enough time? What about me? And it could have escalated into a fight. But instead, what I said and what I've been saying as we're talking about this is, I really want to figure this out together. Let's work together and figure out how to get both of our needs met. And as Matt said, it really shifts the perspective to let me show you how wrong you are and how right I am, to how do we work together so both of our needs get met? How do we figure this out together? Okay, so we just covered 3 tips of things you can do or say to help stop fights from blowing up. First, you can ask yourself, what if I'm wrong? Second, you can ask your partner, how are you feeling? And third, you can say, I really want to figure this out with you together. And the reason these 3 tips work is they do 2 things. First, they shift us to a place of curiosity. Instead of thinking that we need to fight and win and be logical and show them that we make sense and they don't make sense, we're moving from that place to a place of curiosity about what's happening for me and what's happening for my partner.
I think you mean from furious to curious.
Okay.
Yeah?
I mean, I don't know if I like that.
Did I just make you furious?
Yes. Okay, it takes you from a place of feeling furious to feeling curious. If you like that, then it helps you remember it. And the second reason why these 3 tips work is it shifts our perspective of what the goal of fights are. Instead of thinking the goal of a fight is to win, it shifts you to thinking the goal of the fight is working together. So shifting from winning to working together. And these tips these tips that we've shared can work on their own. You can take your favorite one and put it in your back pocket to pull out every time a fight's about to blow up. Or you can use all of them and particularly use them in order that we presented them today. And the reason the order is powerful is because if you start with, wait, what if I'm wrong? You're starting with curiosity about your own experience. And then if you go to how are you feeling, telling your partner how are you feeling, you're entering a space of curiosity and care for your partner. And then if you end with, I really want to figure this out together with you, you're starting this place of collaborative problem solving where you can work together to figure out how to get both of your needs met.
One thing that's really, really helpful about all this is when you're getting into this space of collaboration and teamwork, you're also building trust in your relationship. And over time, that means you're strengthening your relationship. I've really noticed that a lot in our relationship because I remember earlier, we've been married almost 6 years. We've been together almost 8 years. And I remember early on in our relationship, we would get into fights and it kind of felt like, every fight would be like at the edge of a precipice. If I said the wrong thing, if I didn't answer correctly, in the way that I thought I had to.
Sorry.
Does that sound? Sorry.
It's okay. Go ahead.
I did feel like that might be the end of our relationship. And so the stakes just felt so high because I didn't have the same trust that we wanted to be together, that we wanted to work together, that we could work together. And as I think the evidence grew, as we chose to work together over time.
As we used curiosity and collaborative problem solving.
Exactly. As we continue to do this, I just felt more trust in our relationship and trust in our abilities to get to that place of being on the same team. And it's just made such a big difference in how I feel about our relationship. I feel so much more secure. And of course, we're married now, so that,
that helps.
There's that too. But regardless of where you are in your relationship, you can continue to build more trust and security over time from wherever your starting point is.
Absolutely. So if you want more tips, we've created a guide of things that you can say to keep fights from blowing up. Sign up for our newsletter at growmorejoy.com/newsletter, or look for the link in the summary or the show notes, and we'll send you that guide once you sign up.
Yeah, and please, when you sign up, reply to that email. Let us know, what are your strategies that you use when you're going through fights? How does that usually end up for you? We'd really like to know. We'd really like to know how we can support you in the future.
And if you're tuning in through YouTube, please put that information in the comments. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks.